A killer walked into class, but the Human Deathworlder left them trembling. The Galactic Academy prided itself on preparing future leaders to face every possible threat. From toxic environments to combat simulations, from predator encounters to negotiation standoffs, cadets were trained for them all. But no one was ready for the day the instructors brought in a living killer. The classroom was a vast amphitheater of polished alloy, filled with the soft hum of translation nodes. Cadets of 20 different species filled the tiers, their scaled, feathered, and furred bodies shifting with curiosity. At the center, Instructor Xylarx raised his clawed hands for silence. "Today," he said, "you will learn about fear." The doors at the rear slid open. Chains rattled. And through them stepped a beast. The killer. It was massive, taller than any cadet, plated in segmented chitin, eyes burning with predatory gleam. Its forelimbs ended in curved blades that had shredded prey on 3 continents. Even restrained by magnetic cuffs, its movements were fluid, lethal, full of promise. Gasps rippled through the chamber. A feathered Kivari pressed her wings tight to her body. A scaled Varix hissed, spines flaring defensively. The Thrixan cadet Jirel froze in his seat, claws trembling against the desk. "This," Instructor Xylarx intoned, "is a Exrath. An apex predator from the death planet Durok. It is intelligent enough to stalk sapients, strong enough to kill unarmed squads, and relentless in pursuit. It is a killer, bred by evolution itself." The chained creature snarled, baring mandibles slick with venom. The sound rattled bones. Cadets whimpered. Some pressed against the walls. The creature pulled against its restraints, making metal groan. And then someone laughed. The human. All heads turned. Cadet Mason, short, barefaced, with nothing more than simple academy fatigues, leaned back in his chair. His arms were crossed. His expression was almost bored. "You call that a killer?" he asked. The chamber froze. Even the Exrath tilted its massive head, confused. Instructor Xylarx narrowed his eyes. "Cadet Mason, do you not recognize the danger?" "Oh, I recognize it," Mason said, standing. "It's big. Ugly. Probably fast. And yeah, those claws could gut me if I was dumb enough to let it." He shrugged. "But where I come from, that's just Tuesday." Gasps echoed. Jirel whispered, "Tuesday?" Mason stepped closer to the chained beast. The Exrath tensed, muscles rippling, mandibles clacking in fury. Most cadets scuttled back. Mason didn't. He stopped just out of reach and looked up at it. "Reminds me of a bear," he said thoughtfully. "Or maybe a tiger. We've got a few predators back home built kinda like this. Bigger teeth, though. Faster too." The cadets stared in disbelief. Tigers? Bears? Creatures bigger and faster than this monster? Mason smiled faintly. "Thing is, where I come from, we hunted them. With sticks. And fire. And sometimes just rocks." The fear turned. The Exrath lunged, chains straining. The room filled with the screech of stressed alloy. Cadets screamed. Mason didn't flinch. He just tilted his head, eyes steady, expression calm. For the first time, the predator hesitated. Its mandibles clicked uncertainly. It leaned back, as though considering. Instructor Xylarx's voice crackled. "Impossible. The Exrath fears no prey." "Yeah," Mason said softly. He took one slow step forward. His voice dropped into a tone that carried not arrogance, but truth. "You're not the first thing that's tried to kill us. And you won't be the last. On Earth, everything is trying to kill us. The weather. The plants. The animals. Even the ground sometimes. We didn't get to the stars by being the fastest, or the strongest, or the sharpest. We got here because nothing scares us enough to stop moving forward. The chamber was silent but for the storm of rain against the Academy dome. The X-Wrath, for all its fury, lowered its mandibles. Its claws flexed, not in attack, but in something dangerously close to hesitation. For the first time, the predator looked uncertain. The reveal. Mason turned back to the class. You all think fear is what keeps you alive. On Earth, fear's just background noise. You still have to move. You still have to fight. You still have to build. If you stop because you're afraid, you're already dead. Jirel whispered, then, what do you call fear? Motivation, Mason said simply. He looked back at the predator. Thing about killers like this. You don't beat them by being stronger. You beat them by refusing to quit. And when something realizes you won't stop, that's when it starts to fear you. Almost on cue, the X-Wrath growled low, mandibles trembling. It didn't lunge again. It didn't test the chains. Its multifaceted eyes locked on Mason, and for the first time, the killer looked away. The entire class inhaled sharply. Aftermath. When the session ended, the predator was led out in silence. It no longer fought the handlers. It no longer snapped at the air. It just glanced once over its shoulder at the human cadet who had stood before it without trembling. The cadet buzzed with whispers. He faced it without a weapon. He compared it to prey on his world. The killer looked away. Jirel approached Mason cautiously. Do you ever fear anything? Mason grinned. Sure. Every day. The trick is, you don't let it own you. You take the fear, and you move anyway. He glanced at the retreating predator. That's the human way. Epilogue. In the days that followed, the story spread through the academy like wildfire. The lesson was supposed to teach cadets how to respect predators. Instead, it had revealed something far more unsettling. A human could make a killer tremble. And from that day forward, no one in that classroom looked at Mason or any human the same way again. Because in a galaxy of predators, there was only one species that stared into the eyes of death and made death flinch.